Well, guys, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. A couple stories I'm going to run through. A couple stories that are same as always. Really, it's not good. Bad news. Bad news in the UK, which is crazy because I'm the type of guy who says the future looks bright, and I mean it. Just not yet. Just not yet. Okay, but I'm sure the bright future's coming. However, when I start reading you these stories, you're gonna be wondering where the fuck this bright future is. But like, I'm gonna go through a couple of stories. I'm gonna go through Sadiq Khan, who Mayor of London, completely incompetent, who is for political reasons deciding not to tackle knife crime in the UK. Interesting, considering he was just knighted the other day. And then also I'm going to talk about Keir Starmer and Ukraine. This is crazy stuff. Okay, so Keir Starmer sending 3 billion Great British pounds annually to Ukraine for the next 100 years, and also suggested he kind of played with the idea of sending British troops to Ukraine to fight Russians. Crazy stuff. And then also at the end, I'm going to do a little shout out to a hater of mine because it's fun, and I'm starting to get haters now, which has always been my biggest dreams. Okay, but let's get into the show, right? So first thing I'm going to talk to you about, right? So this is a this is just so dumb. Sadiq Khan, he's a crazy radical leftist, and he hates anything to do right wing, hates conservatives, hates Reform UK even more. And a Reform UK Assembly member proposed a knife crime task force scheme to reduce murder in the capital city, right, London, which is Sadiq Khan's only obligation, his only responsibility, right, is to protect London and improve the lives of people living in the city of London. And he was proposed this, which is a video I'm going to play to you, and his reaction is pretty disturbing if you think about it. And we'll get into why in a second. The video is about a minute and a half long. It's a little long, but it's important you actually watch this video and pay attention, because this is what is going on behind closed doors. And this conversation just happened to be recorded, right? But if this has been recorded, could you imagine what's going on behind closed doors? Okay, and if you live in London, this is going to be very concerning for you. So I'm going to play the video right now, and I'll break it down in 2 seconds, okay?
The year's only just begun, and already we've seen at least 9 major stabbing incidents on our streets. On the 1st of January, 25-year-old man stabbed on Oxford Street. 5th of January, double stabbing on Kilburn High Road. 6th of January, 18-year-old man stabbed on Prince Imperial Road. 7th of January, we know the tragic murder of Kellyanne Bacassa, stabbed in broad daylight on a bus. Also, 7th of January, reports of stabbing in Mile End. 11th of January, stabbing and 2 shootings in Homerton. 13th of January, father of 2, Gregory Castillo Volquez, stabbed to death in Haringey. And on the 14th of January, stabbing outside City and Islington College and also on Ilford High Road. My team has been working on a budget amendment where we would like to fund almost 1,000 police officers to deliver a targeted knife crime task force. And the way we do this is reduce the cost of your staff budget back to 2016 levels. That will give us the funding to do this. Now, obviously, I can't table that as a budget amendment on my own. I need support from other groups. Would you encourage members of other groups, perhaps your own group in the Labour Party, perhaps the Conservatives, perhaps anybody, to second that amendment so that it can be discussed and debated in full next week at the budget meeting?
As a rule of thumb, I never encourage anyone to work with Reform.
So that's a clear no. So this is a really important issue, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, the figures quoted in the police and crime plan show that 70% of Londoners rank tackling knife and gun crime as one of their top priorities for London. You talked about cross-party working. I think that's it's a question of priorities. You've shown what your priority is. I'm showing what my priority is. I really, really hope that other members present, perhaps will have a more constructive conversation with me. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand.
If you paid attention there, what you'd notice, right, is that he first, and this is genius, by the way, by the guy, he lists off all, by the way, what's today? 21st of January 2025, and he's talking about all of those stabbings that he's talking about have happened in the new year, okay? He lists off 7, 8 stabbings. One of them was the Kellyanne, which went by the name Gripper. If you remember, I did a story, the 14-year-old who was stabbed on a bus. And He breaks down all of the, and by the way, he's picked these out perfectly, by the way, which is a good strategy. When you're trying to be convincing, right? He's saying outside of the college, the 14-year-old boy in Islington, and he's, different parts. It's not like he's talking about one town. He's talking about all over London, highlighting key issues, right? The biggest issue facing London right now has to be the knife crime. I think everybody would be in agreement, although you get some of these radical leftists talking about the climate, where I think that the people getting killed is a bigger issue. And Sadiq Khan just completely brushes it off by saying that he wouldn't work with anyone from Reform as a rule of thumb, right? Now, if you think about that, what he's basically saying is that he would rather let the crime, the knife crime in London, continue at the rate it's going at right now, before working with people who he disagrees with politically for the greater good of the city that he's been put in charge to run. Now, this, to me, this is crazy and disgraceful. I retweeted this, and all I could think was like, wow, somebody tell me how I'm even supposed to begin to react to this in any way other than fucking starting a movement to get this guy to resign. Now, me personally, I don't live in the London boroughs, right? But very, very close members of my family do live in London and have always lived in London, okay? I have siblings who live in London, and let me tell you, it is not safe. And by the way, they're not even living in the slums. And I'm still worried for them. It's ridiculous. And the fact that this guy doesn't even acknowledge it, doesn't even talk about, doesn't even have a conversation. He doesn't even, and this comes back to the point of like these people genuinely hate the country. And if you disagree with me, you'd have to show me a reason why they do love the country. I've done a lot of videos about Sadiq Khan, but this is just one of the most disappointing, right? And by the way, the guy has the plan. It's not like, oh, we have to work on a plan. The guy says, look, 1,000 police officers, right? All we got to do is with, you just trim your budget a little bit. You're spending loads of money. It's not doing anything. Let's get the money back to what it was when you took over in 2016, and we can tackle knife crime. And he also makes the point, by the way, this is going to help us as Reform and Labour and maybe the Tories. We're working together. Isn't that right? We don't have to be enemies. And this is the issue. The left, in general, I'm talking across the West, but in England, should I say, they hate Reform UK. And they would rather see little boys and girls get stabbed in the cities and across the whole country before working with Reform UK. Why? Well, it's pretty simple, in my opinion at least. They don't want to give Reform UK a chance to prove that they are competent or a chance to prove that they can do what they say they will get done. Okay? If they had got, and this is clear, and obviously he doesn't like them anyway, so it wouldn't surprise me if he just doesn't want them to have anything to do with it. He wants them out of the government, right? He wants them to pack it up and leave. They're not going to. But he knows if he gives them an opportunity to put together a force of police officers to tackle knife crime, and it's successful in any way, shape or form, well then Reform look good. And he looks bad because he couldn't do that. He couldn't do that. If you remember, guys, I broke down the crime stats in an episode, I guess it was in December or whatever, or maybe January, and I broke down the London crime statistics, right? When Sadiq Khan was getting knighted to become Sir Sadiq Khan, which I'm not going to call him, by the way. And if you saw, ever since he took over, the crime statistics had been ramping up continuously. Okay? Crime stats since 2016 had been increasing, and then there was a little drop off in COVID where everybody was staying at home, and then it ramped back up to an all new high. Okay? It's running like Bitcoin. Let's just say that. It's literally running like Bitcoin, right? Which is not good for him. But then I realized that was all crime in London, right? So that was, robberies, obviously stabbings, shootings, shoplifting, car theft, I guess drunken disorderly, stealing phones, that's a big issue. But seeing as we're talking about knife crime specifically, I thought I'd get into a deeper dive into the knife crime in London. So then I thought what I'll do is I get up, which should be on your screen right now, this is a good, very credible source. These are the statistics of knife crime in London. Okay, so this is the exact thing that this gentleman from Reform UK was addressing, the knife crime only. Even though we could talk about the whole crime, but you get a task force of police guys after knife crime. That's how you tackle it. You tackle one subject at a time, one sector. Okay. So what we'll do again, same with the statistics before, we're going to forget about the 2015-16, right, and give Sadiq Khan the benefit of the doubt. Okay, because that was when he joined 2015 or 16, but he was new. So the first year, or the first part of the calendar year, he was a mayor of London. We're going to put that aside to give him the benefit of the doubt, so that we know that this is his city, right? Because when you take over, okay, you're dealing with what you were left behind, and you have to implement your own ideas and your own policies or whatever. But so what we're going to do is we're going to start from 2016, 2017, right? So as you can see, the number of police reported knife or sharp instrument offences in London, okay, in 2016-17, 12,077. Okay, so also what you want to be taken into consideration is the fact that that's reported to the police. So we can assume that it's a higher number, because a lot of people out here are getting stabbed in the gangs and they're not snitching. They're not reporting it because they don't want to be snitches, or because they want to get revenge, or because they also stabbed someone, and it's this is what's going on. So 12,077, right? That's 2016, 2017. Now, if we look what the crime level, the knife crime levels are in 2017, 2018, what you see is it actually goes up significantly. Okay, 14,731. So we're talking about an increase of 2,729 stabbings, give or take 3. I don't know, my quick maths there, but what you're seeing, that's a big percentage. Okay, that is a huge percentage. That's an increase of what, 6%? Is that 6%? Something like that. Sorry, guys, my maths isn't the best, but still, I'm just running. I'm just talking it, but that's a big increase. Okay, and this is after he's been in charge for 2 years. You've seen an extra 2,000 stabbings. Now, when you talk about, people say numbers and people say, oh, well, there's a lot of people in London, 2,000, this and that. No, 2,000 stabbings, an extra 2,700. That's an extra 2,700 times that in his city, whilst he's in control, he's in charge, that is his city, right? This is the achievements that have led up to him in 2025 becoming a Sir, knighted, okay? 2,700 extra times a knife or sharp instrument has been driven through someone's skin, piercing it. Think about how many of those people died. How many? I don't know the percentage of people surviving stabbings, but let's say there's an extra 2,700 stabbings. Is it safe to say an extra 500 died? And that's being very, very generous. That's being very, very generous, just because I don't have the statistic. Now, you could say, oh, that's at least another 1,000 people dead. Let's just say 500. That's still under his watch, under the rules that he's implementing. Then if you fast forward 2018, 2019, then what you see is basically the same, but added, another 170, right? Another 170 stabbings, 14,902. It's going up. So they had an increase and then it stayed the same. It's crazy stuff. And then if you fast forward to 2019, 2020, what you see is 15,928 reported stabbings in London. So within well, technically 4, but let's say let's say, right, because again, we're ignoring the first year that he was in, okay? So we're giving it from a second year, right? Giving him the benefit of the doubt, and the numbers are still abysmal, awful, okay? It's an extra 3,900 stabbings happening per year, 3 years after he's assumed the position of Mayor of London. And then in 2020, right, what you see is obviously the drop-off. And this is where everyone's inside. 2020, and London was pretty strict with the COVID restrictions, right? Everyone's inside, so obviously it's still the crime rate's gonna drop down. Obviously, people are not home, but it's still 10,000 reported stabbings in a year where everyone was meant to be at home. Now, I don't agree with the fact that everyone was at home, but the fact that everyone's at home and you're still getting 10,000 stabbings, which was higher than the rate of stabbings before he took over as Mayor of London. Then obviously what you see is in 2021, 2022, where people are starting to go out more. There's still COVID restrictions in the UK in 2021, but you know, they were easing up and people were going outside and there was social distancing and everything like that. You see it goes up again, right? 11,122 reported. Then if you fast forward another year, 2022 to 2023, it goes back up, right? So higher than it was on his second year in charge of London. So we're on 12,786 reported stabbings. And then 2023, 2024, it ramps back up again. Huge jump, right? In the space of so from the end of 2023 to the end of 2024, what you see is an extra let's say 2,500 stabbings per year in the City of London, right? And this is just the statistics up to 2024. If you look up 2024/2025, so the previous year, I guarantee you it's higher. Guarantee you it's higher. The statistics clearly, probably aren't out yet, seeing as we've only just begun 2025. But this is awful stuff. This is so bad when you think about the population of London, right? Isn't crazy. I mean, let's see. Population of London, right? So it's looking like almost 9 million, right? 9 million people when you're talking 15,000 stabbings? Those aren't good statistics. Those are not good statistics. This is awful stuff. Listen, guys, I don't think you guys understand the when you're talking about population, and I said it just now, but when you're throwing these numbers out there, an extra 2,000 doesn't sound like a lot when you're talking about people. Stabbings? Think about the deaths. How many of them were kids? How many of them, right, voted him in to change the city and then ended up stabbed in a more dangerous city? I can tell you right now, London is so much more dangerous than it was in 2016. Okay, I've been going to London since I was a little kid. Okay, like I said, family that I go to London every weekend. Dangerous. Now, obviously, it's probably not going to matter because for some reason he keeps getting re-elected over there, and for some reason people are acknowledging him as some sort of good politician. I completely disagree. But once again, he has shown exactly what he is because he has quite literally turned down a chance to lower those reported knife crime statistics, get those numbers down, for the sake of the country, for the sake of the city that he's been put in charge in, but he won't because he doesn't want to work with Reform UK. It's disgusting. And I'll tell you what else is disgusting, right? Keir Starmer, for some unknown reason, this doesn't even make sense at all. Like, even numbers-wise, doesn't make sense. So, yeah, UK and Ukraine signed 100-year partnership agreement with $3.6 billion allocated to Kiev annually, which is essentially £3 billion annually. $3 billion. Anyone here struggling to buy groceries? No? Anyone waiting to get an appointment with the NHS? Can't? Anyone work for the NHS and feel underpaid? $3 billion a year to Ukraine, who would not do anything to protect, would not help us out in a second. This is crazy stuff. Again, this is why I say that this is part of the reason why I say the future looks bright, because the future is so bad. No, the present is so bad right now that the future has to be brighter. Surely, it can't get worse than this, can it? Surely. It is crazy stuff. Okay, it is crazy stuff. If you break that down, right? So $3 billion per year, right? That is $400 million per month, if I'm correct. No, 200 million per month. Still, it's hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of pounds a month. How? Why are we doing that? Okay, and we kept being given this propaganda, right? That if we don't, then Russia's gonna take Ukraine, and then they're gonna come for Poland next. There was no indication that that is the case. Okay. And in fact, the war in Ukraine seems like it's going to be over probably by March, right? Trump's in office now, right? His inauguration was yesterday. Putin came out yesterday and said that Putin came out on the 20th saying publicly that he's open to negotiations to for peace in Eastern Europe. This is just crazy stuff and bad policy, and this is how you lose people. And look, you've already lost me, but just from a strategic point, stance, right? If you're the Labour Party and you know you're not popular at all, the Keir Starmer specifically must be the least popular person in the UK right now, and you're in a position where you're thinking, okay, what can I do to make myself more popular? What can I do to save my legacy, even though you didn't really have much of a legacy to begin with? Well, you actually, I say not much. You had zero, right? But you become Prime Minister, so now there is some sort of legacy, and you decide to send billions every single year to Ukraine and force and put a commitment for the country, right? You don't know what the state of the country is going to be like in 20 years. And now you've got committed to sending billions every year. Now, if you'd have used that money and kept it in-house, spent it in-house, you could have changed the country, and people like me who have been talking bad about you would be saying, well done, good stuff. Oh, maybe I was wrong. But it's not going to happen now. Or at least if this is the way it's left. It just, in the UK, I feel like a movement, and I've said this many times, I feel like the movement that happened in the United States is gonna be happening. The next election, Reform UK need to be on point, because they can win. They can 100% win if they stay popular, if they make the right decisions, if Nigel, keeps doing what he's doing in terms of being, everywhere. He you turn on the TV or whatever, anything to do with news, Nigel Farage is on it. Keep that up, and a win is coming. That I can tell you. Okay. Now, moving on quickly, I want to do a little shout out. Right? So, there's this guy on TikTok, or guy, girl, I don't know, who is officially my first, like, proper, like, I've had haters, I've had people, comment on my post saying this or messaging me saying I'm crazy or they disagree or I'm genocidal, sexist, transphobic, doesn't, oh, I'm not sexist, but transphobic. But I don't give a fuck, right? I never did, right? Because, and these people, like, they messaged me properly, like, it was on their account, I could see their face, I could see, tagged photos, this is their actual account, and they'd message me, right? And, maybe have a bit back and forth, maybe I ignore them, maybe I like the message, but it was, they were haters, but not, they weren't like actual haters. I always wanted that. I wanted actual haters. And now I have it, okay? So there's this guy on TikTok, right? And his account's like, it's, anonymous account. And I think it's made just for me, right? It's like user 32, whatever the fuck, right? And first they start commenting on my videos, right? Saying, you're wrong, blah, 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 this and that. Then they would tag me in other videos trying to say that, like, oh, see, look, you're wrong, or look, you're stupid, or look, you're supporting genocide. A lot to do with Palestine for some reason. And at first I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're tagging me, nice, okay, like, and I was kind of hoping that it would help, get me exposed to the rest. I was hoping everyone else would see it, be like, who are they calling out? Hopefully it does, because haters make you money. But then it started becoming like a continuous thing, right? They like every time I go on TikTok, it's like this. I can see he keeps looking at my account, which is good. He's tagging me and stuff, arguing, right? Calling me names, this and that, and it's like, it feels good. It feels good. I don't know if anyone else has that, like, but it actually feels really good. Like I feel like it's working. Like, I like getting under people's skin. Some guy, right, doesn't want to show his identity. No face, no, direct message to me or anything like that. Just commenting on my stuff, calling me out, saying I'm bad, right? But it's actually quite funny because every time he clearly isn't watching my video, right? He's seeing the caption and being triggered, right? So essentially, he tagged me in this video. It was Joe Biden calling out Netanyahu the other day or whatever. And then this guy comments saying that I should make a video on it because apparently I've been hiding or I support Israel, like I'm paid off by Israel or something. It's just funny. It's just funny. And I just wanted to shout him out. Hopefully he's watching. If he does, you know who you are. You know who you are, which is good. Hopefully you can be a bit more vocal with it. If you started reposting it or making your own videos calling me out, that would be better. Because then more people would see the stuff. They'd be interested, they'd be like, who's this guy you're talking bad about? Then they'd watch my videos, realise that I'm not genocidal or a cunt, or I couldn't give a fuck if they did think it anyway. But then I'd get more views, and then some of them would actually agree with me, then I'd have more, followers or loyal viewers, shall we say. And look, hopefully it continues. Hopefully there's more. Look, if you don't like me or don't like the things I'm saying, please make videos about it. Please talk bad about it. Okay? That's because, you probably won't be able to help yourself, but no, it's going to help me. So, let that triggered little fucking raging extreme leftist who has to, you little name calling, but let that get out. Let that get out and let it further my, should we say, social media presence and career as a video creator. Okay, but look, hopefully it keeps going. Hopefully more people start hating on me because I love it and it gets me excited, right? And look, I'll fucking debate someone. I'd actually like that. I would love it if someone would like to come and debate me. That would be very, very good. I would love it. I would, honest to God, love it. Okay, you probably won't, because most of you are fucking, you say it, but you don't mean it. You don't have anything to say. You throw these terms about fucking genocidal, transphobic, and you're fucking too pussy or too stupid or unable to communicate to the point where you could actually have a conversation with me. But either way, please keep going. And look, on that note, I'm going to end the video here. I appreciate everybody joining me today. And I've got a good couple videos coming out over the next week or week and a half. Just got to get the editing done, and one of them still need to film. It's going to be interesting. You're going to like it. You're going to want to see it. Okay, so if you're not already subscribed, you're going to want to subscribe so that you get the notification as soon as I upload. You can watch it. Hopefully you watch it live. If not, you can watch it later on the day. Just make sure you watch it. Make sure you like it, right? Because you know yourself. I don't need to tell you. You know. Okay? Without the likes and the subscriptions, right? The algorithm is going to fucking throw me to the bottom of the barrel. Okay? And there's loads of people out there who need to see this, especially in the UK. Okay? Now, funny enough, most of my viewers are American. But I need some guys in the UK so we can start a movement and we can start getting people thinking like us. Sane, rational people. And hopefully, in the next elections, we can vote this awful government out and we can start changing the country for the better. Okay? And listen, also, if you don't follow my TikTok, follow me on TikTok, James.Tayoro Clips. And Instagram, James.Tayoro. And also on Rumble, just type my name in. Type my name in anywhere and I'll come up. Okay? But listen, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And next time, it'll be even better than today. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a good one.